live yet again. It's a beautiful Saturday out here. We're here for laying it down with Big D, and I, of course, am your host, Andrew Big D Morrow. And now you may see a familiar face up here. You know who this is. This is my LAN duo. We made a debut at Frag 19 in Windsor, Ontario.
Yeah.
Jason Lee here is the number one rated player at Frag 19 according to some outside stat sheets. Not according to all, it's not unilateral, but if you find the right stat sheets, he is the number one player at LAN. And on a more serious note, he is a server admin for who's done work for Launders LAN, Frag, and most recently the Clutcher Kick tournament down in San Antonio. I've got Jason Lee with me here today. Jase, how are you doing today?
What's up, guys? I'm great. Great. Glad to be here.
Hell yeah. Well, you did literally just come back. It's been 1 week since Clutcher Kick.
Yep.
How was that experience?
Uh, that was really fun. Getting to work with completely new people I've never worked with. King before, but he killed it. Uh, a lot of the people attending, some familiar faces, a lot of new faces, but it was really cool. I got to meet Stiko as well, and there's some new talent coming that I think is pretty exciting that I got to see there as well.
Yeah,
And
that's what I've been loving about seeing more lands pop up is like I feel like one of North America's big problems over the last several years is like our since COVID we haven't been able to like get back to LAN as much as possible. I mean, Frag is doing everything
yeah,
they can, but people are just more worried about their online persona and appearance and stat line, and it's like you want an org to pay attention to you, go down to LAN and prove you can play that game competitively on LAN. So
oh, 100%.
it's exciting seeing those up and comers. But dude, I want to hear the Jace Lee story. We're gonna go back in time here. Okay, are you ready? You're gonna take us
Yeah.
there. Uh,
Okay.
what are your earliest memories of gaming, and how did they lead you to Counter Strike?
Earliest memories of gaming. It's probably when I was like 5, begging my parents for a GameCube. It's probably like the earliest. Oh, you know what? No, it's that going to an older family friend's house and just playing on their SNES.
Dude, the Super
Just
Nintendo.
I never got to own one, but I played the hell out of it.
Same. What did you play?
I don't even know what the game was. It was like you play as like a fighter jet that's just kind of like a bullet hell.
Yes.
I don't know what it's called, and I'm sure other people might roast me for it because it's some kind of classic somewhere, but play the hell out of that. But other than that, it's mostly been like Pokemon, a lot of single player games, and then in high school I just fell into Counter Strike, and it's kind of had a grip on me ever since.
What was it about Counter Strike that pulled you in and didn't let go?
I'm pretty naturally a pretty competitive person, so finding Counter Strike and just I mean I played some COD, I was pretty good at COD, but Counter Strike was just another level of just tactics and teamwork and just competitiveness. You don't get with matchmaking in COD unless you're playing in some kind of team in some tournament or whatever. But everyone was in Counter Strike was about that. And then you find Counter Strike, then you find the esports, and then you fell into it even more. So I'm pretty excited for the next frag at Blocktober because some of the players I grew up watching are gonna be there. So that's super exciting.
That's how I feel about like Cold Zara being at Fragville here in a couple of weeks because Cold Zara is like literally like one of those players that's been the biggest names of Counter Strike since I started watching Counter Strike, and I'm like, and that's how I feel about every time Nitro's at a frag event. Like when Nitro's like
Yeah,
10
yeah.
feet away from me just talking to his friends, I'm like, there's Nitro over there. That's
It's
wild.
like I used to watch him on stream. That's crazy. He's right here.
Do you ever still get do you still get did you get starstruck seeing Stico?
But Stiko, not so much. He kind of just like he wasn't there as a team. He was just there by himself, so it was a little less intimidating.
Right. He was there to be
But
approached.
yeah, exactly. And he was like, he's a super nice guy, very, very like just social. They like, I think one of the funniest thing was like they interviewed him during the LAN. They were asking him like, what's the thing you look forward to most when you come to the US? And he said Panda Express. I I just died laughing.
Of all the things in the United States, Panda Express,
That's right. And he got Panda Express right after.
he was only there for a day, right?
Yeah, he was there for a day at the event for a day. I think he was there for a little bit longer the next day.
How come you didn't hang out at the event the next day?
Well, I think he had to catch a flight like midday,
Oh,
so I
okay.
think he was just kind of resting up.
That makes sense. I thought I thought he was like, no, this is my second day is going to be my day to explore San Antonio.
No, no, he didn't have that much time. I'm sure he would have loved to.
Yeah, well, it's cool seeing somebody with so much enthusiasm about Counter Strike give back to the community that way
Yeah,
as
and he was fully like all about that too. He was talking about how like NA needs to come back.
yeah, dude. I mean, I read an article today that was talking about the fact that somebody was saying like, no, the world EU wants NA to get back online as well, because like
Mhm,
it's good, it's only good, like just the same as we want China to get activated online after watching the Shanghai Major last year and seeing how like enthusiastic Chinese fans were about Counter-Strike in general over there. I'm like, okay, come on, China, let's get China online and become a like activated region for Counter-Strike. Like, it's only going to benefit the game the more regions there are that are like competing heavily in it. If it's just EU, it's probably really hard for them to sustain the level of like money and professionalism over there with it if it's not a
yeah,
worldwide affair, you know?
yeah. I mean, I don't know what happened. Like we used to have like great teams here in NA. All the big sponsors here are in NA, and like I go to these lands, like none of the passion went anywhere. So I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Like just the opportunity is just not there for the teams.
It is an interesting time period. Well, we're going to dive more into like what we think is going on with North American Counter-Strike here in a moment. I want to hear more about the Jase Lee story. What how so did you ever play competitively once you started playing Counter-Strike?
I mean, I played like I think a season of ESEA Open. I played a bit of like collegiate CS, but that's about it. I never really went that far. Um, I don't know. Like it's at least with the collegiate CS, it kind of killed it for me. Like just I don't know. The people there were just so toxic, you know. Like, and I think NACS has a bit of a bad rap for that as well. Like just a lot of toxicity, but it's definitely gotten a lot better. People are genuinely really nice, even in like matchmaking now. I mean, you'll still encounter people here and there, but like on the most part, I've been having a pretty good experience with CS2.
I have two actually. I think that yeah, I have two for the most part. I still think that Counter Strike, like any competitive game, there's by
Yeah,
default like 30% of your games are gonna have nasty people either on one team or the other that are disruptive in either all chat or voice comms. But like, I do think if you can stay under that number, you're doing pretty well for your competitive game. Because it used to be with Counter Strike, it felt like it was a 50-50 shot of like, well, am I going to get
Yeah.
an actual game here, or am I going to have screaming teenagers with a bunch of slurs in my ear for the next
Yeah.
45 minutes? Well, how did you get started? Tell me what a server admin does. I know old Sfaxta or Sfaxa. It was on here at one point and shared a little bit about it. But tell me what you do as a server admin at LAN.
So, I mean, when I get to the LAN, I set up the servers, make sure like any settings need to be whatever settings are needed for the LAN are set right. Make sure that like the PCs are actually capable of running the servers, which it's gotten a little easier now with CS2. And like if there are any issues, I'm making sure like I'm on top of that. For this last LAN at San Antonio, Valve released an update that broke a lot of plugins like the day before the LAN,
Oh,
which
that's
is a
nice.
classic. So like a lot of it was fixed, thankfully, by the time the LAN started. There were still a few issues, so like I don't know if anyone else at the LAN knows this, but like I had to like manually change all the maps, restart the servers between every single map.
Seriously?
Well, yeah, but I mean, no one noticed and it ran super smooth, so it was great.
You got it done. I I know I know I was talking to somebody and they were wondering how the two, because there was also the Nostalgia Land running up in Seattle at the same
Yep.
time,
Yep.
and they were wondering how those two lands would run. And whoever I was talking to was like, "Well, I know Jace Lee's out in San Antonio, so I know that'll be just fine. That'll run smoothly. I don't know how Nostalgia will go. It sounds like Nostalgia had some rough spots, but that's all part of like the growing process of putting these lands on, right?
Mhm.
Like you can't just look. I would argue there was somebody very famous in Counter Strike who put on a LAN not that long ago, and it was a bit of a disaster at the beginning of this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that one of our lands? My land?
Was it Yeah, Launders LAN too.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, really. Like I got a little bit of flack for that, but there was really nothing I could have done. It was mainly the venue. The venue promised us they had switches that were capable of handling that load, but then we got there and they just didn't. It just the infrastructure wasn't there. And then they try to blame everyone except themselves. So like the reason it took so long to fix was because we had to like go down everything to eliminate every other possibility to show them it wasn't us.
So yeah, it was the venue. I think it sounds like it's fairly similar to what happened at Frag Vegas. I don't know if you heard about what happened at Frag Vegas in April, but that was at the like Level Up Expo, right? And it was
Yeah.
like a whole, expo that weekend that we were like inside of. But the first day there is just like I want to say 8 to 9 hours of day one delays because before the first match could even start because their power and networking was not set up over there for us. And there was a lot of like, no, 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 we know what we're doing. This is gonna be great.
Yep.
And then that happened on day one, and it's like, well, and of course, it doesn't matter to the players and spectators, right? They don't care. They just see the tournament organizer and they're like, "It's your fault."
Yeah, exactly. You'd be surprised how many like esports facilities just aren't like they're not prepared to handle CS. I think like the very first Launders LAN, which it wasn't even called Launders LAN at the time, it was Fragfest. People don't know this. There's been three Launders LANs. Everyone thinks there's only been two.
Really?
Yeah, there was a Fragfest with Launders. And then everyone there just called it Launders LAN, so it just became Launders LAN.
I
But
like I like the
I,
name Launders Lane better than Fragfest.
yeah,
Not
I
not
think we
with
all
not
do
with
too.
Fragadelphia right next door. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think that's one of the main reasons where like it's too similar, having frag in the name. But then like that event was held at like the Red Bull studio, which was supposed to be an esports studio, and they said everything was ready, but we tripped breakers like crazy.
Really?
No one's ready for CS. No.
What is the hardest part of like putting on a LAN in your opinion?
It really depends like where you are. Like for us in Canada, finding a good venue is probably the hardest part. And just like I guess this is for everyone too, like just the funding. It like doing these lands aren't cheap. And you know, like some of the higher level players expect a certain level from these lands, especially if it's like a VRS land. Like if you're on stage or whatever, you should have like a stage admin, like uh servers need to be run smoothly. All the PCs have to be the highest spec, have like 240 hertz minimum, but like none of that's cheap or easy, you know? In Canada, like we had, or in Toronto at least, we had one LAN center that maybe had that, but COVID took them out. So now we're left with nothing. So like the past two Launders LANs, we actually got PCs from Frag. Like Ed drove them up for us.
Ed drove up PCs for Launders LAN.
Yeah.
Hell
Ed
yeah.
drove up like had a U-Haul, just brought up all the PCs and monitors.
Well, and the fiasco at Launders LAN made it lose its VRS status, right?
Actually, so like I think if we really pushed it, we could have just had it, but we made the decision ourselves to just like we don't think it's fair, so we'll just
Right,
pull VRS.
because there were like teams that had gone out there that were told they just flat out aren't going to be able to play, right?
Yeah, but like everyone kind of expected like NRG was probably gonna win, and they were still in it, but like you know, it just wasn't fair.
Yeah, competitive integrity is obviously good.
Exactly.
Well, when's Launders LAN 3, but it's technically 4.
I really am not sure. Like it's kind of been up in the air. I've been told like a few times like maybe early next year, but like it's I don't think that's happening then. Like it's like things just have to line up. Like Launders being Launders, you know, he has a pretty busy schedule, so like his schedule has to line up and like the venue's time has to line up. And we also just need like a sponsor or something. Like it's we had like last time we had Nouns, but they're kind of pulling out of esports now, so we don't really have that either.
Yeah, it's sad. It's actually sad to see that Noun's pulling out of esports as well, because like I love the idea of like crowdfunding esports. Like,
Yeah,
why
I
aren't
didn't really know too much about it, but after like they funded us, like I looked more into it. It's super cool. It's like they just fund project that they think is interesting and would make them money.
right? Yeah, it is a really cool thing, and I think it's super rad. But it's a bummer because they pulled out of Dota 2 as well. They had a Dota 2 team going on, and they pulled out of that, and then they pulled out of Counter Strike, both the male and female teams, and I don't think they're involved in any other things. I haven't been back to the website since. It's just strange to me because it feels like it's the type of thing that would appeal like that, like it feels like they would. I wish more people would understand that esports is an area to advertise to certain demographics more than anything. Like, if you're
Yeah.
looking at it as an investment where you're going to make money back at some point or by the end of the year, that's not how it's going to work. You need to look at it as an advertising investment where you're not going to see direct money return off of that investment, but if you invest money in this area, your brand is going to be in front of the eyeballs of hundreds of thousands of teenagers and young adults, and you know, now getting to the point of middle-aged people as well, as we're getting older and playing games, right? You know, it's still in our
Yeah.
middle age. So it's always sad seeing people not have that, like, or seeing brands and organizations not be able to stay in the space because there's no money coming back. But I don't know. It seems very tough. I'm waiting for that. We're waiting for that. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos level of investor that's just like, oh yeah, let's turn the esports on in NA and let it rain.
I mean, I guess like the Saudis are kind of doing that, but like I don't know, everyone feels a little icky taking that money.
Yeah, we're not a political show here, but there's some, cold hard truths in the world, and one of those is that the Saudi government is using a lot of money to like put on esports and not just esports, but also sports, and it's a washing of their image because they are not doing such great things over there. I'm not going to paint the entire area as a whole as anything, but like the Saudi government and royalty is definitely doing something fishy with that money, and the people in esports should rightfully feel icky, but like also their backs are against the wall. Like they don't
Yeah,
really have
like
another option.
100%. I don't blame anyone for doing it. Like
Me neither.
even just the regular, like lands here, like or just online events, all these gambling ads, I'm sure like a lot of the organizers they would prefer to have like HP or like whatever instead of like a gambling site.
Yeah,
Like, but what are you gonna do? You take what you can get.
we're gonna change the world. We're gonna march on Congress, and we're gonna get the United States federal government invested in esports. Is what we're gonna do.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Well,
I think like I, I think Valve made a bit of a mistake with CS2. I really thought they were gonna change like the names like counter terrorist and terrorist because I think that's one of the things brands have a lot of issues with.
that is the thing that brands have an issue with. It's not the gunplay. They plenty of places sponsor Call of Duty or Halo tournaments or Valorant tournaments. It's not the gunplay. It is the fact it's counter terrorists and terrorists, which obviously as counter strikers is one of the stupidest things in the world because it's the most minute thing of the game that nobody that plays it actually thinks about. But outside of the game, to people that don't play video games at all,
Yeah,
it sounds like it's this highly intent. Well, and then you hear that, and then you hear about like the some of the more prominent figures in our space being not such wonderful people and gamers being gamers as they are. And I mean, I think our community is pretty wonderful, but there's lots of scandals that have happened and all the match fixing and all the gambling that's
yeah,
involved directly with Counter-Strike. I think that's the stuff. Yeah, I think Valve fumbled by not calling them literally just T and CT. Like,
that's what I was thinking too. Just T and CT is simple. It's still this kind of the same, but I don't know. Terrorist and counter terrorist.
it's a mature game. What can we say? I mean, I think that while we're in a lull right now and Counter Strike in general is going through this crazy time period, I just think the like bubble that was built up over the last like 10, 15 years of all these wildly giant, extravagant events is coming is popping, and like gonna start seeing more tournaments like the Frag Guys and Clutcher Kick or Launders or collegiate esports start
Mhm.
to actually take off, and then maybe something else can grow from there that's a natural growth of that. But like we jumped from like these little small lands 10, 15 years ago to giant arenas and selling them out and giant stages and worldwide travel and these world class productions and all that stuff, that it's like that wasn't sustainable forever, right? Like it couldn't be.
No, absolutely not. We're
Well,
just kind of coming back down to earth now.
that's how it feels. And that's why it's really exciting to see like the Fragadelphia guys get like all the attention right now in the Counter-Strike world that they are, because yeah, it's a little mom and pop tournament run by, but it's like a tournament that's run by people that are genuinely passionate about Counter-Strike, that want to continue giving back to the community. And it's like that's what these tournaments should be, if we want to like, if we want to like really dive into that discussion of like how do we make our region better, or how do we make our players better, or whatever, then we need these tournaments. We need more of these small grassroots tournaments that are offering more new players an opportunity to play the serious Counter Strike. That is
Yeah.
what, because if you break all that big giant giant tier one event stuff down to its core, it is still just two teams playing Counter Strike on LAN. That's what they're doing, and so that's all these, just because these other smaller events don't have the name recognition or the big production value of these other events, it doesn't mean that the experience is any different. We need to continue giving that experience to newer players more often in more areas. So yeah, I think it's a very tumultuous time period right now, but I think it's I think it's I think it's leveling itself out more than anything, in a really positive way that's going to be really good for more people than they realize.
Yeah, 100%. I think the frag guys have been doing it forever, and like they've earned this recognition that's coming this way now. Even if you talk to like anyone working these events, like if you ask them like where did you first start, most of them they all started in frag. So like all that talent starts from frag and kind of trickles down to all these smaller grassroots events.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you hear about the fact that like Elige got his start, Tarek got his start, Flom got his start, Steel, Daps, all these guys that you know of, they got their start playing at Fragadelphia. Like that's where they were playing, and that's where they got the recognition from orgs. And it's like that we need to put the focus back on that if we want to build a genuine pipeline, you know? Well, let's talk more about this NACS. What do you think the issues are with NACS, and what are the issues that need to be addressed in Jace Lee's book?
Uh,
We talked a little bit about the
I think
toxicity.
uh, toxicity is like a little bit like they had more matchmaking. I haven't really seen too much toxicity like in person. No one really says anything to you bad in person. Like it's harder to do in your face.
Right.
You know, that's another reason to come play at LAN. People aren't gonna talk shit to you. Well, they might, but
They'll
it's in good
banter,
fun.
but yeah,
Yeah.
you'll also pick up on the fact that a lot of the shit talking you hear online suddenly is like, oh, I bet all these people were kidding and not serious online as well, even though it looks serious.
Yeah. But I think like a big problem is like even like with my friends like who watch Counter-Strike, they just don't pay attention to like the NA scene at all. Like they just think it's like tier two or even lower. Like who cares? Like I only care about like the tier one teams play. Like even though there's like these tournaments and these pretty like high level teams playing pretty much all the time, they just don't pay attention to it. It's a little tough, but like I guess with VRS that might change a little. Like if these tournaments matter more and like it's gonna like these like I don't know like Blocktober like all these EU teams are coming like I'm sure a lot of eyeballs are gonna be on that. I heard like they sold out like spectator seats for that event, which has never really happened at a frag event if I'm not wrong.
What? They sold out spectator passes too?
That's what someone told me. I don't know if that's true. I
I
have to
mean,
double check on that.
I would believe it.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at that team lineup. Like, everyone wants to come see like all these like massive players. Like outside of a major, when else is that gonna happen?
Well, seriously, that's what I mean. I'm excited for Blocktober. I'm probably going. I don't see why I wouldn't go, but I like to, I'm also trying to move back to Portland, Oregon at the end of the year, so balancing all those sorts of financials and figuring things
Yeah,
out.
I took a few too many vacation days this year, so I wasn't planning on going. But after that, I saw those teams sign up. I'm like, I think I gotta go.
You gotta go.
I gotta go.
That's how I'm feeling about it. I wasn't gonna go to any more frags after Knoxville because, like I said, I'm moving. But like I saw the team list for Blocktober, and I'm like, feel like it's probably pretty important to go to that event. Like that's not gonna just be
Yeah.
some random frag 10K. That is gonna be a slugfest land. That is absolutely insane. My cat insists on being a part of all these interviews.
All right.
This is Momo. Anyway, well, go on. What else do you think NA needs?
I think like one thing that NA has over EU that we're really not taking advantage of is like the collegiate scene. There are so many universities and colleges that have a Counter-Strike team or get like no support, no recognition, but like some of them are pretty good players and like they start their like competitive Counter-Strike or esports career there and then move up to like an actual like ESCA team. But a lot of them get zero recognition. Like HLTV doesn't cover any collegiate NA collegiate games. Like maybe one or two if they're like high profile enough with like some known players, but typically nothing. But like those games, there's like a few scenes or a few leagues that happen, and like there's some pretty competitive players in there. Like Wardell came from there as well.
From the collegiate scene?
I'm pretty sure. Like he went to York in Toronto. Like that's where I first heard of him. I played against them.
And where does he play now?
I have no idea. I think he went to Valorant.
I was gonna say, doesn't Wardell play Valorant now?
I think so.
I do agree that the collegiate scene needs to be more tapped into. But the problem is you've got like 6 or 7 different collegiate leagues that are all trying to
Yep.
unify, and they like really, really, really need to come together to like do the project together and unify all of it in here's the NCAA. Like you just need to make NCAA esports a thing, and like make it an actual athletic program in schools that schools can either offer scholarships for or can actually like if yeah, I it needs to be unified because like you said, there's something to tap into. While we don't have like high schools aren't going to be playing Counter Strike very much for the reason that we talked about earlier, the counter terrorists versus the terrorists. There is the entire collegiate scene all across North America that would be stoked to probably have an actually unified, paid attention to league.
100%. Like I know some of these leagues are like they have the same issues as like as TOs have, where like there's no sponsorship money and like they can't take the gambling money either. The schools won't work with them if they do. So they're stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. And that's I'm pretty sure the reason why they keep like there's so many of them, they keep coming and going.
Because they think they're going to create the entity that can pull in some kind of sponsorship that'll connect with the colleges. That's interesting. They
Yeah,
can't take gambling sponsorships. Don't NCAA football games take gambling sponsorships?
I don't know. Like I think they do now, maybe, but I know when I like we try to reach out to like a school here in Canada, they're like they wouldn't associate with us because we had like gambling sponsors.
Yeah. Well, the sad truth is gambling sponsors are kind of the only ones that have the money to like continue putting on the events that we need to put on to do this thing. Like we're I don't think anybody wants gambling sponsors forever. Like
No.
but exclusively gambling sponsors, I should say, forever. But it's a tough spot. Well, Jase, I only got a couple more questions here for you. And then we can wrap this up. I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your thoughts about North American Counter Strike and in general. Okay, sure. I'm gonna ask you a special question first, though. What's been the coolest what's been the coolest moment? Uh, been the coolest experience you've had since you started working LAN events?
Like at an event or like just in like things that led
Like,
to
yeah,
it from a LAN
at an event. Like, what's
at
the
an
best
event.
experience you've had at LAN?
I mean, it's tough to say. Like I usually pretty busy at a LAN, but I guess like the last Fragadelphia was pretty fun. Like I usually I'm just stuck in like a back room somewhere, so I don't really get to experience too much of the LAN. But like the last Fragadelphia, I was like adminning and running between all the all the teams and like interacting with all the players. Like I don't know if this is like the best moment, but this is definitely one of the more memorable ones because it's just kind of funny. Like Innocence from like Khaleesi,
Mm-hmm.
they won that event, but like he's also like he's a veteran player. He's been to a lot of events. I remember like that his one of his match was getting delayed because of a tech issue for so long. And like I went there to figure out what's going on. He's like, I keep plugging this in. It's not there's no sound. It's not working. Like we've restarted this computer like 5 times now. I don't know why it's not working. And like I'm taking a look and he brought this little like audio deck thing with him that like he can plug all his audio stuff into. And then like I look on the side of it, there's like a little jack with like a headphone icon on it. I'm like, are you supposed to plug that into there? And he's like, I'm so stupid. And he plugs it in, all of a sudden it just works. It's just it's such a memorable thing.
Dude, that's the power of tech support is what it is. That's you show up and like automatically it's just it's user error. It's user error 90% of the time in tech support. I swear to God. That's a made up
It doesn't
statistic, but
matter how experienced you are. There's yeah, like you just forget one thing. It always happens. I forget.
one, you're at LAN, you've traveled around the world to play in this tournament, and you're at LAN, you're in a foreign place, you're stressed out, mistakes are gonna happen.
Yeah,
You're only
100%.
focused on the game. That's well,
As
and
long
he
as you
really
do good
was.
in the game, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and boy howdy, he was focused on the game because they went on and
Yeah,
won the tournament.
yeah, they did.
Well, okay. I also want to ask this before because this feels like a missed question if I don't ask you this. How, once you decided you wanted to do server admin, did you get into working LAN events? How did you get connected with Launders and that crew?
So getting started as a server admin, that was a little interesting because like I had no plans on like working events or doing any of this before. And then someone I knew from CS, like on ESCA, asked me to like help him run a LAN for him, like just do the server. So he's like, "Oh, you know coding, right? Run the server for me." And me not knowing anything, thinking it'd be easy. I'm like, "Okay, sure." That was a disaster. Like that guy had no idea what he was doing. Like I had no idea what I was doing, but like we figured it out halfway through the day, got the servers working, but that guy he didn't even show up to the tournament. Like and then after that, I was like, I'm never working a LAN again. This thing sucks. Like and then like I saw that Launders LAN was happening like it was like a year later. So like and I saw that like someone I knew was working as an admin there. So like I asked him like, hey, like you need help with like server stuff? Like I have a little bit of experience. And then Alex, who actually like organizes the Launders LAN, he said he tried to like he thought he could do the servers himself, figured out pretty quickly he couldn't. And then he's like, okay, yeah, like come help me. So like that's how all that started. Like I just got closer to Alex and then he's just been doing all the Launders LAN since.
That's amazing. Almost didn't almost didn't stick with it, but had just enough experience to push out to ask about Launders Land. Hey, everything happens for a reason, right?
That's right.
All right. Well, Jase, it's been a pleasure having you. I got one last question here for you.
All right.
What if you could talk to a younger version of yourself, what's some advice you would give them? It could be Counter-Strike or esports or life related or whatever. This is your opportunity to get on a soapbox and preach to the younger generation out there.
Don't practice too much Counter-Strike. Keep playing, but find better teammates. That's the key.
That's good advice.
And just surround yourself with better people.
That's good general life advice. Surround yourself with better people. All right, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming out here and having a
Yeah,
yap sesh with me. I got
thanks for having me.
I got of course, one last thing here. Just like hot ones, this camera, this camera, this camera. You want to take a look and into them and tell the people what you got going on and where they can find you. What's next for Jace Lee? Any shout outs or plugs?
Uh, Not too much going on right now. Uh, there'll be another Clutch or Kick in about 6 months. Probably San Antonio again. So if people want to come check that out, let me know. This is the first event was VRS verified. The second one will definitely be VRS as well. We'll make sure that happens. Um, I am planning on working on a tool to help TOs. So maybe that'll be the thing, the spark that NA needs. Who knows?
It could be.
But it could be. It could just be.
All right. Is that it?
I guess right now, yeah, there's not too much going on. You can come find me at Frag Blocktoberfest. I'll be there. Come say hi.
We'll be there. All right, dude. Well, and I'll link your Twitter in the bio as well, so people can come harass you on Twitter and let you know what they think of your work there as well. All right, Jace. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you all for watching at home. That is it. Okay. And